Guys, we got new dilution from NIO. And also, NIO's president made a new video updating everybody, shareholders included, about some stuff about the company. Very, very worth watching. And of course, I also got some new leaks about the new ET5. All of that in this one juicy, important video. But first, I gotta let you know about the sponsor of this video, Smartkem, ticker symbol SMTK. In my last video, I told you guys about BNZI, and yesterday the stock was up 26%. So when these guys move, they move really, really fast. So you guys better pay attention, all right? Obviously not financial advice.
I'm Ian Jenks. I'm the CEO of Smartkem. Smartkem makes electronic polymers, liquid polymers. These liquid polymers are used to make sheets of transistors to drive and control a new generation of displays. It's a $200 billion industry. And we all know that there's a fundamental problem with displays today. They're simply not bright enough. If we try and look at our smartwatch in sunlight, we actually can't read it. And when the sun shines through the window out onto our television, we have to go and pull the curtains. There is a solution. It's based on LEDs, light-emitting diodes. They're those little squares that you see inside the light bulbs that we're all using to replace halogen lights. And we take an LED, and in fact we make very, very small ones. They're called micro LEDs, 1/10,000th of the size. And on a big screen TV, you might need 24 million of those. And to make that TV, you put 24 million of these red, green, and blue micro LEDs on a sheet of glass. You put 24 million transistors on another sheet of glass. You put one very accurately aligned to the other, and then you actually have to weld all 24 million of them to each other. It's not a truly manufacturable process. It's not one that scales, and it's why a large screen micro LED TV today costs maybe $80,000. What we do is we take that sheet of micro LEDs, we make liquid electronics, liquid transistors, and we pour our different layers over the top. We shine lights at it, we pattern it, but we have no welding, no alignment, and in doing that we make a micro LED TV, and it's the difference between something that is $80,000 boutique and $3,000 mass market. Protecting intellectual property in any startup is extremely important. Today we have 175 patents. Much more importantly, we have 40 codified protected trade secrets. We make electronic polymers. To make a transistor, you actually use several different polymers. Think of it as a stack of pancakes. So when we engage with the display market supply chain, we're able to take individual layers that they can use to improve their existing product lines. We're currently in qualification with 3 manufacturers in the Far East with our single layers. They're being used in existing products to improve their performance. And we have 3 joint development agreements to develop a new range of displays, again with manufacturers in the Far East. Smartkem was formed in 2009 by Bev Brown, our chief scientist and one of the world's leading polymer chemists. She believed there was a better way of making electronic polymers, and $60 million and 15 years later, she's been proven to right. She never actually said it would be easy. We're based in Manchester, in England. Why Manchester? Well, Manchester is one of the world's centers of excellence for polymer manufacturing. I've been in the C-suite of technology companies for over 30 years. I did my first startup in the 80s. I sold it to a company called Uniphase on the west coast of America. I relocated to Silicon Valley as president and grew that company to be one of the world's largest suppliers of telecommunications components. I took Optic Communications public on Nasdaq, and I spent a decade as a partner in a West Coast venture capital fund. I got involved with Smartkem in 2018 when I was invited to join the board by one of the investors. And the more time I spent with the company, the more excited I got about what it was doing. I've been very fortunate in my life to have introduced two products into the markets that have literally changed the world, one in gene sequencing and one in telecommunications. And as I look at Smartkem, I just felt that this was the opportunity to do it a third time. I took over as chairman, moved to be chairman and CEO, and I took it public on the OTCQB market in 2021. We all have a calibrated eyeball. If we walk into a shop full of TVs, we can quickly scan around and we can see the TV where the color pops. Smartkem's proprietary electronic polymers can introduce a new range of transistors to the world that can drive a new micro LED TV, and it can take it from being boutique to the mass market and literally change the way we see the world.
So Smartkem, ticker symbol SMTK, right now it's currently trading at $3.15 a share pre-market. It has formed what looks to be like a bull flag or a bullish pennant over here. And basically what that is basically we have an upward move and then some consolidation, and this could represent a very big juicy opportunity going forward. Not financial advice. Just add them to your watch list. So let's first talk about the new ET5T leak. So current ET5s don't actually have heads-up display, and it was actually leaked that there's that empty spot in front of the car which will be able to have a heads-up display. And obviously the ET5 is a more expensive car than the Envo L60, and the Envo L60 has a heads-up display. It really does make sense for them to add that in the new upcoming 5566 models, which will be coming in around May of this year. So very, very soon, look forward to that. ET9 deliveries start this week, and then you have April, you got the Firefly, May, you got the 5566 cars, and then very soon you're also going to have the Envo L90, and then after that, Envo L90 deliveries, and then you have the new ES7, and potentially a new MPV coming later on this year. So a lot of products that will be coming to the market for NIO. Very, very interesting. But of course, what's on everybody's mind, the fact that NIO stock has cratered below 4 with the massive dilution news. And that dilution was kind of saw that coming. They burned almost $1 billion last quarter in Q4. And clearly, they have enough money for 12 months. They got to get some more money, right? So dilution was pretty obvious that it's gonna eventually happen. But what's very interesting about this dilution, and this is very, very important for you guys to know, is that it's not going to be for the public. If you look deeply into the reading, it says it's may or may not be for the public, which kind of tells me that these are probably to private investors, which is very, very interesting. So maybe certain individuals, they are looking to invest into NIO. Of course, 118 million shares represents a roughly 6% dilution. So you're seeing the stock price down. Yeah, obviously. And then that will get them about 400 million-ish dollars, US dollars, which if you factor in NIO's Q4 burn rate, all right, that's only enough for like half a quarter, 1.5 months, which is very scary to think about. But I'm sure that soon they're going to really ease up that cash burn and try to improve things. For example, somehow reduce SG&A spending, advertising, pull back on a little bit of that. And then the rent on some of these stores, man, I hope they can renegotiate some of these rents, man. And maybe potentially, well, I know they're not going to do this, but you're seeing NIO store next to Envo store, and you're paying rent for 2 different stores when you can totally just have one store. But of course, management has said they're not going to do that. So they're going to have to find ways to reduce SG&A spending. But this was kind of an expected move. They're definitely going to do dilution. But then going forward, will they have to do dilution again? That's a big question. I think they're probably going to be able to get money from the Chinese government and these kind of entities that are willing to invest in NIO. So that's, I'm not too worried about NIO going bankrupt, even though they're cash burn rate is very, very scary. And even though the voices here in China, the content creators and everybody, a lot of people are saying that at this current burn rate and the amount of losses they're making, they're going to eventually go kaput. But I don't believe that's the case. I think we're just in a product transition phase again. And very soon we're going to see much better delivery numbers. But let's listen to NIO's president and see what he has to say about some of the new partnerships that are happening and some of the very exciting stuff that's going on. All right, let's have a listen.
Hello friends, I am Li Hongqin from NIO. I just attended an event in Changping District, Beijing. Mainly with Beijing's NIO Science City Group subordinate NIO Xinka Smart Energy Shares. There is a cooperation agreement. Let's discuss and build a green and smart energy network. Jointly help the construction and operation of NIO's battery swap station. What about cooperation in this area? Recently, it has received attention and support from many, many places. Just last week, probably many friends know about it, the world's leading power battery, CATL and NIO Energy. There has just been a strategic cooperation agreement. And what about this week? We have also received support from relevant parties in Beijing. So what's next? There are many, many more with NIO Energy and projects related to the co-construction of battery swap networks. In the process of brewing and promoting. That's how I feel. Everyone knows it together. Battery swapping is an end game for the future of electric vehicle development. So what about jointly building a battery swap network? It is a long-term win-win situation. It is beneficial to the country and the people, and is convenient for car owners because of the battery swap station. After all, it's not just this convenient features for car owners, it's also a distributed energy internet network. It is especially in line with the national smart energy, green energy, and the general direction of the development of the energy internet. What about my colleague today in the course of this whole event took some sporadic videos? Let everyone feel it. The warm and solemn atmosphere of today's event. 9 models have been released under the NIO brand. Among them is the Smart Electric Executive Flagship. ET9 deliveries are scheduled to begin in a few days. NIO Auto 2024. More than 200,000 new vehicles were delivered throughout the year, firmly dwelling in China now. One in the market share of high-end pure electric vehicles. Take the open source of the industrial park as a new starting point. NIO will compete with Changping, explore and deepen cooperation in the 2 major directions. Advance with NIO Science City Group cooperation and co-construction of 100 green energy battery swap stations. In fact, there's a lot of other good news about NIO's energy layout. Recently, for example, our line in Zhejiang province will soon complete more news, and we will also communicate with you in a timely manner and report to you.